Welcome back. This is the third lesson to our devotional series, and today's title is called Buyer Beware. Buyer Beware. All right, so many of us, we all use Amazon.com, right? Amazon has replaced Walmart for most of us, right? Like we go to Amazon for everything, right? Now, I remember one time my wife, she wanted to buy this wig, right? And so she saw it on Amazon. And she was like, I'm going to get that wig because she looked at the picture of the girl, the hair was just falling and laying right. She was looking all good. And my wife was like, I want that wig. And the wig was at a decent price, right? And when she got the wig, oh my God, this wig looked like it belonged on a baby doll's head. It looked like something that you would put on a Muppet, right? And my wife, she laughed at her own expense. She laughed so hard at how this wig was. Like, so the advertisement that she saw was totally different than what came through that mail. And what's going on right now in 1 Samuel chapter 8, God is warning Israel. So imagine had my wife got that warning, if she had the ability to see into the future and view herself opening this package and she can see this wig, she would have never purchased that wig from the get jump. She would have never purchased it. It would have stayed right in that Amazon warehouse. And God is letting us know sometimes, and he's letting Israel know right now in 1 Samuel chapter 8, that this wig that you're about to buy, this wig that you want, is not a good one. But in their case, they wanted this king, right? They wanted a king. They wanted a king the same way that most kids want substitute teachers. Why? Because you'll be able to get away with what you want to get away with. But now, God is warning them, this wig or this substitute teacher that you want, it's not what you think it is. In fact, it's horrible. You're not going to like it. And I'm saving you the trouble. I'm giving you one last warning. Do not ask for this thing. Be satisfied in me. And Israel is like, nah, we want what we want. Because remember, secretly, they wanted to do what they want. But on the outside, they had the appearance of, nah, we just want another king. You're good. It just didn't work out, so we just want another king. But they really wanted to do what they wanted to do. And so God is laying out everything that's going to happen. And they still decided to have what they wanted. So let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 8. And beginning in verses 10, and we're going to finish in verse 18. All right. Samuel told all the Lord's words to the people who were asking for him for a king. He said, these are the rights of the king who will reign over you. He will take your sons, and he will put them to his use in his chariots, on his horses, or running in front of his chariots. He can appoint them for his use as commanders of thousands or commanders of 50, to plow his ground and reap his harvest, or to make his weapons of war, and the equipment for his chariots. He can take your daughters to become perfumers, cooks, and bakers. He can take your best fields, vineyards, and olive orchards, and give them to his servants. He can take a tenth of your grain and your vineyards and give them to his officials and servants. He can take your male servants, your female servants, your best cattle, and your donkeys, and use them for his work. He can take a tenth of your flocks, and you yourselves can become his servants. When that day comes, you will cry out because of the king you've chosen for yourselves. But the Lord will not answer you on that day. Whoa. That was like some weighty stuff right there. And besides what God said in that last sentence, did you hear the language that God was using? He kept saying, the king that you want so bad, he's going to take, and he's going to pull, and he's going to take, and he's going to take, and he's going to take, because you've given authority over to someone who only cares about themselves. Whereas at first you had a God who cares all about you. He filled your barn. He gave you these lands and these vineyards and these orchards. He gave them to you for your pleasure. And yet you want to trade that in for someone who's going to take everything from you. And what he's doing he's stacking himself up, right? He's actively comparing himself to these kings that they desire. And he's like, look, I don't have anything to be ashamed of. Like I am secure in who I am, right? When I speak, mountains come out of the ground. Like when I speak, light shines. When I speak, planets form. Like so, I'm not insecure that you want this king that you want this king to reign over you. Like I'm secure in myself, but what I'm doing, this is for you. This is for you, young man. This is for you, young lady. Like, look, do you really want this? That's what God is saying. He's like, look, hey man, like for real, let's stack it up. Let's compare. Do you want this? Do you want the person who created gravity? Or do you want this king who was going to one day make you fight in his army and you won't be able to enjoy everything, this life that you want, this freedom that you desire? You're not even going to be able to enjoy it because you're going to be dead on somebody's ground. And this brings us back to the point many of us have experienced when we were younger, being under our parents' house, being in their homes, and seeing all of the rules and regulations that they had for us. We didn't realize that our parents were just 15, 20 years removed from living the exact same life that we want. And they see it. They've been down that road already. They've been down that road and they seen the pitfalls. And so they see us, our noses wide open, and we desire to go down that same road, and they are screaming to us like, no. They're not saying don't go down a road for not going down the road's sake. They're saying, no, we seen that pitfall. We seen him. That dude that has your nose wide open, baby girl, I've seen him before. I know that he's just entered my home, but he's not entered my like I've seen this young man before. I've seen him, and I know his characteristics, and I've seen how he's addressed me, and how he won't look at me in my eyes, and how he's keeping you away from the family, and how he's looking at you so you can't be yourself. You used to play and you used to love music. Now you don't sing anymore. Like I'm noticing that stuff because I've seen it before. So your parents are like, yo, don't go down that road. I've seen him. And this is what this person would do. He will continue to isolate you. He will continue to remove you from your family. And so now he's gotten you by yourself, and he's going to continue to beat you down and kill your self-esteem. He'll bring you little flowers every now and then just to make you feel good, just to make you feel okay. But then he's going to continue to isolate you. He's going to continue to let himself do whatever he wants to do. Right? We've seen this before. What I really want to emphasize is what a king is in our lives, right? The same king that's in their lives, they were looking at a physical king that they wanted, but the king that's in our lives are idols. An idol is anything that you give authority over to so that that thing can do for you what only God can do for you. Now I'm going to say that again. An idol is anything that you give authority over to so that that idol can do for you what only God can do for you. Now, here's the kicker. Idols have a bottomless appetite. Like, meaning they don't stop with their hunger. They just continue to take and eat and eat and eat away at you until we are nothing. So just remember, idols, they're functional saviors. They're functional saviors. Meaning that they will always be able to address a need, but they will never be able to fully deliver. This wraps up like the first part to this devotional series, whereas this has all just been set up for everything that's to come. Like we're going to be introduced to a lot of kings, and these kings, they fell for every trap that I've just laid down in the first 3 lessons. And it's, in some instances, it's heartbreaking, but there will be a lot of hope mentioned. What I really want for you to do is to read Luke chapter 15, and beginning at verse 11 through the rest of the chapter. And this is a famous chapter. This is the chapter of the prodigal son. But oftentimes, what we miss in this story is that there are two sons mentioned in the story. You have one son who wanted his freedom so bad. He said, just give me elbow room. I want to do what I want to do. And so he spends all his father's money. But then you have another son who is so caught up in working to impress his father that he did not even enjoy his father's presence. And so in both cases, they weren't satisfied in their father. They wasn't satisfied in the fact that they belong to a man who loves them, who has a mansion, who has everything for them, who won't withhold anything from them. He will give everything to them. And yet both brothers, in both cases, the one who wowed out or the one who was so religious and stuck up that he couldn't enjoy his father's presence, both of them could not find their satisfaction in God. So, read that. I can't wait to come before you again. You're not going to hear from me in a while because we got some guests for you guys. I love you. Love on these next few speakers the same way that y'all loving on me. Take care.